Trump's popularity has never been stronger than it is today. On Thursday, January 28th, President Donald Trump held a meeting with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. According to the meeting readout, many topics were discussed in this very good and cordial meeting, and the number one priority was taking back the House for Republicans in the 2022 midterms. President Trump has agreed to work with Leader McCarthy on helping the Republican Party to become a majority in the House. They worked very well together in the last election and picked up at least 15 seats when most predicted it would be the opposite. They will do so again, and the work has already started. In response, McCarthy touted President Trump for his commitment to boosting the GOP in the House and Senate races in 2020. A united conservative movement will strengthen the bonds of our citizens and uphold the freedoms our country was founded on. For the sake of our country, the radical Democrat agenda must be stopped. On the same day, Corey Lewandowski, a former Trump campaign manager, told Fox News that President Trump will continue to be actively involved in Republican Party politics. The president continues to have enormous support and approval among Republican primary voters. He continues to have hundreds of millions of dollars in his campaign account, which he can utilize, and he will continue to be actively involved in recruiting candidates and holding elected officials accountable for their votes. In a short call a week ago, Trump called on Arizonans to re-elect Kelly Ward as Arizona Republican Party chairwoman for another 2-year term, saying that he gives her his complete and total endorsement due to her stances on a number of issues.
Hello, Arizona. This is President Donald Trump, and I need you to help us with somebody that's really worked hard and done a great job. That's Kelly Ward. She's running to be reelected as the Republican chair of the Arizona Republican Party, and she is a terrific person. She's a person I know. She's somebody that you'll never find anybody more dedicated to every aspect of what we're all dedicated to, and so I give her my complete and total endorsement, whether it's the Second Amendment or so many other things that she's for, and very, very heavy on our military and election integrity, all of the things that we want. That's Kelly Ward, and nobody will outwork her. So I give my complete and total endorsement to Kelly Ward. Thank you very much.
With Trump's endorsement, Kelly Ward was re-elected on January 22nd, fending off several challengers for the role. According to Save America PAC, Trump's popularity has never been stronger than it is today, and his endorsement means more than perhaps any endorsement at any time. Various polls have also shown that Trump is by far the most popular Republican figure among the party's voter base, even as members of his party made critical comments following the January 6th breach of the U.S. Capitol. Earlier this month, the U.S. House voted to impeach President Trump on the sole impeachment charge of incitement of insurrection, with Democrats claiming he incited violence at the U.S. Capitol, despite the fact that President Trump called on the mass not to engage in violent acts before the protest and later told them to go home in peace.
And go home in peace.
On January 26th, 45 Republican senators voted against holding an impeachment trial, arguing it would be unconstitutional to impeach a former president, sending a signal that there are not enough votes to convict Trump, with a conviction requiring a 2/3 majority. It is well recognized that the purpose behind the impeachment against a private citizen is to minimize the ex-president's influence in U.S. politics and disqualify him from candidacy of future presidential elections or ever holding a federal office again. On January 28th, former Trump campaign pollster John McLaughlin appeared with constitutional legal expert Alan Dershowitz on Newsmax TV. According to Professor Dershowitz, Democrats trying anything to disqualify Trump from running in 2024 is to twist and turn and destroy the Constitution.
Well, there's no way to legally make it happen. That doesn't mean the Democrats won't try it. They're talking about the 14th Amendment, which was designed to prevent Robert E. Lee from running for president after the Confederacy lost. It has no application to President Trump. He did not engage in an insurrection. And so they may try it. They'll try anything. This again is like Stalin and Lavrenti Beria. Stalin wanted to prosecute people, and Beria, the head of the KGB, said, "Show me the man and I'll find you the crime." They are so desperate to find a way of preventing Donald Trump from running that they're prepared to twist and turn and destroy the Constitution.
McLaughlin told the broadcaster that the effort to cancel President Trump is backfiring and will likely embolden the former president's voter bases.
Well, actually, it's having no impact on his base, and it's just solidifying them and making them angrier and more upset. Because the people outside the Beltway, as our polls have shown, agree with Professor Dershowitz, where 3/4 of the voters in battleground states think it's a waste of time and money.
In the meantime, state and county Republican Party committees have rushed to President Trump's defense in the face of his upcoming impeachment trial, highlighting the former president's popularity and power within the GOP. Any Republican who impeaches or convicts Trump would likely suffer significant political blowback. Among the 10 GOP House members to join the Democrats voting for impeachment was Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, and also one of the House Republican leaders. On January 28th, Florida Representative Matt Gaetz called for voters to vote Liz Cheney out of office during a rally in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where people held signs saying, "Impeach Liz Cheney."
That Wyoming has such a disappointing congresswoman. I guess you have to ask yourself the question, why is it that America has such a disappointing Congress? Because in a lot of ways, Liz Cheney is exactly like Congress. Deeply unpopular and owned by special interests. USA! 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 We can beat them, and you know what? If you want to prove that you have the power, defeat Liz Cheney in this upcoming election, and Wyoming will bring Washington to its knees. You see, Washington, D.C. mythologizes the establishment power brokers like Liz Cheney for climbing in a deeply corrupt game. But there are more of us than there are of them, and we see the fakes and the phonies more clearly than ever before. We are in a battle for the soul of the Republican Party, and I intend to win it.
On Friday, January 29th, 2 Republican members of the Ohio House of Representatives, Reggie Stoltzfus and John Cross, issued a memorandum to all House members, saying that Trump accomplished many things that led our nation to unparalleled prosperity against great odds, and they want to officially recognize June 14th, Trump's birthday, as President Donald J. Trump Day in the state. The memo wrote, "Let's show the 3,154,834 Ohio voters, a record and historic number of votes received for president in Ohio, who cast their ballot to re-elect Donald J. Trump, that we as a legislator recognize the accomplishments of his administration, and that the Ohio House believes it is imperative we set aside a day to celebrate one of the greatest presidents in American history."